You're listening to the Blunders and Flagons podcast. The party sits around a campfire. Something weird has just happened. Banjo attempted to hit a bird at a far distance, but failed, rolling a natural one. They sit contemplating such strange circumstances.
That's the third time today. It's like something forces me to miss.
I felt it too. As if my fingers can't seem to find a grasp on the herbs. Like some great unseen hand refuses to let me act naturally.
Right, and like me, the hobbit who detests soup, sells not one, but 2 bleeding bowls to the sheriff. Boys, I think we're cursed.
But by what though?
The unseen ones. Don't you feel them watching? Always watching. Laughing when we stumble or miss our blooming shots. Whispering when we deliberate.
Could it be the great scattering? We our thoughts sometimes pause for long stretches as if waiting for fate to catch up.
Oh, or the time we took that shortcut. I swear on the way to Hobbiton it was there, but on the way back, there's nowhere to be found.
I once had the urge to follow an owl, and then as if by unseen command, I couldn't.
I felt that too. As if the very laws of our world change by whim.
What if we are but pawns? Mere figures in a grand game of destiny, controlled by forces we cannot comprehend.
That would be ridiculous. Right?
What if they can hear us?
Hello?
No, that's absurd.
Yeah. Well, the next thing you know, we'll be claiming our every move is dictated by dice.
You know what else is odd? Sometimes I'll throw a stone straight on something brilliant, a perfect strike, and then at the last minute it just fails for no reason.
Aye. And other times, I take a brief glance at a bramble bush way in the distance. No chance I would identify anything, but yet I'm able to make out clear as day. There's some wolfsword there. It makes no sense.
Aye. It's as if luck itself is always in the balance, controlled by some greater force, rolling out our fate like dice on a table.
That explains why I never hit a gopher really when it matters.
And why I...
Barry?
He's frozen! It's happening! It's happening! The great scattering! Oh!
Barry.
Oh, sorry. I lost my train of thought. What were you talking about?
The curse?
What curse?
Ooh.
Hello, and welcome to Blunders and Flagons. This is the podcast where hobbits meet dwarves in the world of Middle-earth. I'm David, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this epic journey filled with laughter, questionable decisions, and a fair share of hobbit-sized antics. And in case you aren't familiar with hobbits, that means small antics, because that's what they are.
That's fairly debatable about how size their antics are.
I'm the lore master here at Blunders and Flagons, and I am happy to introduce you to our cast of brothers, including myself. I'm David. I'm a middle brother. And I, for a fun fact, my house was flooded That's a fun fact.
That is not a
And
fun fact.
I'm-
It is a fact.
This is the first time since that took place that I am back in my recording studio, in my basement, with my stuff. So
Basement recording studio.
nothing was damaged, which is great. Anyway,
That's awesome.
that's my fun fact for the day, and it's only fun for me.
We'll laugh
Is
about
it,
it
though?
later, I promise.
Is it though? Is it?
Yeah. With that, I'll pass it on to the youngest member of our team of brothers here, Drew.
Hi, that's me. I'm real happy to be here playing banjo, the youngest also of the group in game. And yeah, I'm really stoked to be here. I really didn't premeditate a fun fact, but real life scenario, in my job, I got locked in a secure area just for like half an hour because I just didn't have access there, and I needed to get in, and someone let me in, and they were like, "Oh yeah, someone in there will help you," and there was nobody in there, and I was just stuck in this basically like a server room. And I was just like, super nice. Can't get out, so I had to call, and then the guy, because I'm at a new place, I don't even know anyone here, so I had to like scroll through leagues of messages to find this guy's phone number too. It was a whole ordeal, but yeah. Confined spaces, literally talked about that last I mean, it wasn't super confined, but you know, server rooms are pretty tiny.
Wowzers.
But yeah,
Wowzers.
it's a good time. It's a good time. And with that, sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and slam it on home to the not the oldest, Jerry.
Oh, I am technically the oldest brother-in-law.
You are
That
the
can't be right.
brother-in-law.
Well, that also makes me the youngest. Anyways, can that be my fun fact? I am playing Barty Took, the ever enthusiastic and sometimes passionate hobbit LARPing as a dwarf who has finally met a dwarf and doesn't know how to behave and might have to eat stew hobbit. And my fun fact of the day, I said that with one breath. My fun fact of the day, and I don't know if it's true, my fun theory of the day, I should say, is I don't think Daniel has been introduced as the first person yet in this season. Like, I think whenever one of us introduces the group, I don't think Daniel has been the first recommended ever.
I have definitely turned it over to him at least once.
Have you though?
Yeah.
I haven't gone and listened to all of them recently.
I'm pretty
My brain
sure.
was just thinking about that. Anyways, it's a fun theory.
Editor,
Correct me if I'm
that's a
wrong.
good bet. And if Jerry's
And
wrong, just put wrong. Like
You
right,
can't
right
you
after.
can't give the editor things to do because the editor is me.
Yeah, sorry,
Just
my
mute
bad.
that
I'll
whole
do that
fact.
again. David, please.
No.
Yeah, could the editor please add in a subtitle?
The audio podcast. Oh, real easy. I could do
Just
that.
freeze it. It's actually not true. Daniel has
We need a
introduced it at
record
least 4
scratch.
times.
Smash cut to the editor predicting a TPK.
No. Anyways,
Reminder to the editor: take a drink of water.
Hydration is
with
important.
with that fun little sidebar railroad moment, I will turn it over to the oldest brother and the one with dulcet, sultry tones who leans way too closely into his microphone, Daniel.
At times. Oh no.
Hello there.
It's in my head.
My name is Daniel. I am the oldest brother of this unlikely quartet of brothers, and it is my pleasure to play Barrelac Bramblefoot, the herbalist hobbit. And an interesting fact about Barrelac, which has just come up from this past episode, is he has discovered that he does not care for the smell of dwarves. They have
How
a
dare
very
you.
certain sulfurous odor about them, and he's not a fan. But more on that later, perhaps. We'll see.
Hopefully.
If he dares to share his feelings. But
Barry?
yes, indeed, This is Blunders and Flagons, and I'm going to turn it back to our lore master, David.
Well, let's get started then, shall we? When we left off last time, you had reconvened in Delving. You had presented your Boffin's Croc knockoff to Bolger, and he had enjoyed it thoroughly. He offered you the opportunity to become, for him to become your patron. I don't know what the inverse of that relationship would be called, but your partridges. He offered for you to become his partridges.
But will there be a pear tree?
Stool pigeons.
He said stool.
In any case, you asked him for time to think about it, and he gave you a day, and you continued on your merry way, exploring the nearby area, if I remember right. You went to do
chuck axes, and Daniel went to do. Right. I have no idea.
Some target practice was what was happening, and some gathering in the surrounding fields to the north of Delving.
My beard.
When you encountered, indeed, a bearded dwarf. He did not reveal himself as so imminently, but after a brief hailing and not of... Boy, I'm off to a great start. Not of weather hail, but a hail. Hi, what's up?
Like a Hail Mary, like a Catholic dwarf.
No.
Drew, I saw that.
Anyway.
Like a gesture someone does totally innocently, has nothing to do with the political party whatsoever.
Oy vey.
9!
Wait, my car.
Broad audience.
It's like the Mr. Bean. Have you guys seen the Mr. Bean clips?
I know who Mr. Bean is.
Yeah, dude. That's from Mr. Bean's Holiday. That one is so
Where
good.
he's like flipping people
That
off.
movie
good
is
stuff.
so good. He does do that, yes.
I love Mr. Bean so much. It's like such good comedy.
Classic.
No one could ever.
Rowan Atkinson. Quick shout.
Check him out.
You know what? You guys
Shout out to
Rowan Atkinson.
You know what?
Like if you want him to be a star on this podcast.
Dude, okay.
Little known fun fact about Rowan Atkinson. He played Zazu in the original Lord of the Rings.
Jeez.
Frodo, that ring needs to go.
No, it's a
ring. Tide Rock.
Oh man.
I can't even do Mr. Bean. He just doesn't say anything. Anyway, okay, back on track here. We have diverged slightly from our goal, which is to play Dungeons and Dragons.
It's great. I love it.
So anyway, he introduced himself as Balin, son of Fundin, and welcomed you around his fire, where he has a pot of stew on it, as well as perhaps some other things on the side. And so as we zoom back into our grand adventure, all four bees are gathered around.
Yeah, I believe he was offering us a brace of conies to stew up.
And stew, yes.
Yes. So he gestures toward the fire and says, please absolutely help. I'm Bolger again. I can't.
I forget even what.
I'm pretty sure Balin had a
Very well there, sirs. Gather yourself around that fire and help yourself to a wee bit of this grand stew I've made. I've got a brace of conies. We've got them cooking in the pot there. And I don't suppose you've got anything else that we could add to make it a wee bit more interesting as far as the soup goes.
Barry? Barry? Barry?
Right, yeah. Well, you can do that, yeah.
What, Barry? What are you gonna put in there?
Well, we'll probably be wanting to put some savory herbs in there. Maybe some rosemary and some oregano and
Why, that sounds like a great idea. You just toss in there whatever you think that would be good.
All right.
I'm not much of a cook myself, but
Salt Bay.
it's Salt Bay. The dried herbs
dancing around
slide
the
down.
pot.
It's like Remy from freaking Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Does a
And-
triple axe all over the pot.
As you take a whiff of the stew and the things that have been added, it's nothing fancy. It's actually probably a little watery. It looks like maybe in order to make a roux, he had added some sort of fat cut off of the conies as best he could to the pan first with some crumbs of whey bread, in a sense, and that makes a little bit of a thicker stew than just water broth, but still nothing grand. It's trail food. And it's being, as best as can be done by somebody who's not really a cook, turned into something edible and tasty. And he has some whey bread there sitting on some rocks as well to eat alongside it. And it looks like there's maybe 1 or 2 small cuts of some of the better meat from the rabbit there sitting on some hot rocks, kind of steaming and growing crispy there by the side of the fire. Well, I've been sent out this way by your friend, Mr. Baggins. I believe that he spoke. I think I've been messing with this metal thing, and I'm on a roll tonight. I'm really...
You're doing great. You're doing great.
So good.
So, Barty.
That's me.
That's right. Bilbo Baggins said that you had asked about the dwarves.
Yes, I sure.
Here I am. I'm a dwarf.
Well, you sure enough you are.
That's
See,
me.
So am I, sorta. Yes.
Wait, hold on a second. How do we know? I've never seen a dwarf before.
He strokes his beard.
He looks just like me, Banjo. Just like me. He's just got a beard.
I stand up on a log and point at him. How do we know you are a dwarf?
He chuckles, a very deep rolling chuckle. And he
Slices me in
begins.
half with his axe.
I say we kidnap him.
Far over the misty mountains
We want to
call.
monetize this. We better not get too far in the back.
Yeah, that's probably about as much as we can sing safely. But he begins to sing a song about gold and the mountains and digging deeply and seeking for something precious. And you feel the waves of adventure kind of wash over you. Those of you that have Tookish blood particularly, it seems to grab a hold of you and affect your mind, not in a way that you feel like something outside of you is affecting you, but it seems to be drawing out from within you this yearning for, in some strange way, perhaps adventure, in a sense that you haven't had that drawn out of you before. You long to see things that you haven't seen and to go places that you've never been.
And that's the truth.
And perhaps each of you, that might affect you slightly differently. But those are the kind of thoughts that get drawn out by this music that's singing. And it isn't the happy music of the hobbits. It's a deep longing and lost emotion that is being brought forth from this music. And when he comes to the end of one of the verses, he falls silent, and it almost seems like the forest resumes its noise. You're not sure if it had died down during that time or if that's just a trick of the voice that was on the air, but it seems like you hear the crickets again, and you hear perhaps even the rush of the water in the distance. But everything kind of resumes again, and he helps himself. He grabs just like a tin cup that he has for travel from his gear bag, and a wooden spoon, and kind of gives himself some stew from the pot. and begins to sip at it and just almost drink it like a flagon of ale.
Does he blunder with his flagon?
Nay.
He said that the episode title.
Well, help yourself there, masters. I keep on slipping into hobbitese. There's so many things the hobbits say that I'm used to not being any other people groups.
Well, we've gone, almost 10 episodes in without seeing anybody other than a hobbit. So
Right.
you gotta
Grab yourself some food there, and join me in celebrating this fine night.
So Barty hasn't taken a seat yet. He has been so caught up in being in the presence of an actual dwarf that he has forgotten how to sit. But he kind of like stumbles over and grabs himself a cup. And before he realizes what he's doing, he has almost overfilled this thing with soup. And kind of blindly takes a big old spoonful before he realizes what he's done. And he kind of just looks around, makes like he's checking to see if Banjo or Barry has seen him take a bite. Swallows. This is stew, right? It's not a soup.
Aye, that's right. It's good dwarven stew.
I like stew.
Aye. What is the difference between a soup and a stew? Do you know?
A stew. This, as Barty is trying to converse with the dwarf, he's doing all he can to try to emulate everything the dwarf is doing without trying to appear too obtuse and too obvious about it. So, and this is just my apology for messing up his accent because I forget how to do it. He's still figuring it out himself, so this is just a little meta here. So a stew, right? This is a stew. This is great.
Aye.
This is a stew. It's
Aye.
delicious. Soup is... it's not this.
You don't like soup then?
Soup? No. And
All right.
let me tell you, the adventure we just went on for a bowl of soup. I'm gonna eat this stew. But
Absolutely.
wait till you
Help
hear. Oh
help
my
yourself.
goodness. This, let me tell you.
So you've been up to soup. That's what.
Oh yeah, it's been awful league fun. Barry.
Right. Yes, I was wondering, what have you had a good soup? Do dwarves have a recipe for soup? Because we've been working real hard on a recipe for soup that hobbits prize quite highly. I'm wondering if there's a recipe that dwarves prize highly as well.
Well, I'd not call it so much a soup. We'd call it a soup, but it's really more akin to your hobbit's gravy. It's large pieces of meat in a bowl of gravy, and that's we call it meat soup.
That sounds amazing.
It's meat in meat juice, and it's a lot of meat.
It's like biscuits and gravy, but without the biscuits, and instead of
Right.
the biscuits, it's
You
meat.
can-
Instead of
you
the gravy,
can-
it's gravy.
You can add biscuits if you'd like, but the main part of it is really meat.
Well, how do you get your greens and oranges then?
Oh, pipe down,
Well-
Banjo.
Well, my mom says you gotta eat all your greens and oranges all day.
Banjo with everything his mom tells him.
Carrots,
Well,
oranges,
it's
spinach,
right true.
parsley.
You gotta eat your veggies and you gotta eat your fruits. Not that we have much in the way of fruits around Hobbiton. We have apples
Master.
and pears.
Master, what's his name? Bolin?
berries.
Master Bolin doesn't seem to eat a whole lot of veggies and fruits, and look at him. I bet he could take on the Jimbro down in the Green Dragon.
The who now?
I've known
Rumble, the run
a few wee hobbits by the name of Jim, but the crucial part for dwarves is really the minerals. That's where you've got to make sure you're getting your benefits, and so there's a load of minerals you've got to make sure you consume along with your meat, and various root vegetables largely, Not so much greens as root vegetables.
Like
Things that
potatoes?
grow in the ground. Aye. We'll eat some tubers.
Potatoes.
So, yes,
Right. So you said
Banjo.
y-
Right, you've introduced yourself to me, and I recall your names perfectly because of the dwarf memory that is famous throughout the land. So
No, it's probably because of the name tag.
that's right. I saw that you wrote it in Dwarvish too for my benefit. So thank you very much for that. Aye, Banjo.
Yes.
I thought you were gonna say something.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you, what you eat rocks?
Minerals. And
Yes.
aye, they can be derived from rocks. They can be.
I heard one time my mom was saying that if you're really thirsty, you can suck on a rock, and then it tricks your brain into thinking you aren't thirsty anymore.
That
someone
is
say that in as an insult before.
that's actually a dwarven trick, and I think the saying you're thinking of is kick rocks, which is a little different from sucking rocks. But that's just my opinion.
Is that what they say in dwarves?
Aye.
Yeah. Barty.
So, Mr. Baggins sent me here, letting me know, first of all, that you, Barty, were curious about meeting a dwarf and discussing dwarven things.
I sure am.
And he also said that you might be such, and his opinion, he didn't tell me how he knew you, but what he said was that perhaps you'd be available for hire.
Higher? No, I'm short. I'm a real little hobbit.
Aye, that I know. What I'm referring to is that your services might be available for
right.
pay.
I do great services. Yes, excellent services. Never had a complaint. Not a one. And let me tell you, the last guy we serviced, he is a tough one. He was a right beetle in a dung heap. Might still be, actually.
That's quite a way
he's a
to
lot
talk
happier.
about a previous employer from a potential future employer.
He was just trying to get us to do corporate espionage.
What was that?
So,
I'm not familiar with that.
It's basically where you steal someone else's mushrooms and recipe and sell it to somebody else without asking the first person. And then you present it as a franchising opportunity to the first person. Banjo, I see you. I lost my train of thought.
so anyways.
It's probably better that way. All right. Well, I don't know
Interested.
much about
What will you
that.
be paying us
Right.
for? Question mark.
Well, I am more than absolutely pleased to give you a hand in whatever you might need happening. As long as I can work alongside or with you and or other dwarves, I will be more than happy to be at your service. Say no more.
That's
Actually,
great.
Tell me what we're doing. What did I just say yes to?
I'm glad to hear it.
I was wondering the same thing.
Well,
What did he just say yes to?
so what the job, such as it is largely to be lookouts. I have come to understand that the quarry out by the hobbit town of Scary, it has been known that on occasion, though they largely simply are a quarry for stone for such hobbits as build houses, and perhaps the occasional travelling dwarf could pick up whatever precious stones they happen to mine along with their stone from the quarry. However, deep in the quarry, it is told by some travelling dwarves that they did find something far more valuable than stone. And so, while this is indeed a mine of Hobbiton, I was hoping for your help in helping me acquire any such precious metals as may be obtained from the quarry there in Scary.
So what you're saying is, because you're a dwarf, you can't get hobbit. Because you're a dwarf. Listen, I can't get over the fact that you're a dwarf. First of all, okay.
Aye, that it is.
This is a very large moment
That
for me,
tracks
which is
perfectly.
surprising because we're both very small in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Grand moment, right? So
And-
you're a dwarf. You need
Absolutely.
hobbit access to a
Aye.
hobbit quarry to get hobbit gems.
Aye.
Well, I'm a hobbit. I can get hobbit gems and give them to you.
That's right. So it's not that I don't believe you wee folk are not capable, rather, of mining and of finding the correct stones, but it takes so long. It takes so long, and half of the time they throw it away and don't care about what they've gotten. And from what I understand now, I've never been the recipient of any of these precious metals in the past, but from what I understand, some of them could be quite valuable, and I am about to undertake a rather large journey and attempt to set up a deep mining operation of my own. And so I would like some startup cash, as it were, to get some of the more prominent leaders of the dwarves on board with my venture.
Right. I love the idea. Before we start with the mining plan, you ever thought about opening a restaurant and selling soup?
Fear not, little man. We will travel to Scary, get the Arkenstone, and bring it forthwith to Erebor.
A forklift? We're bringing a forklift to Erebor? Is that what you said?
His eyes widen when you say the Arkenstone. Oh, nothing's near so precious as the Arkenstone. There couldn't be anything nearly that great. I didn't know you were familiar with Dwarven lore and the precious stones of the dwarves.
Oh, big old Gampy always tells all the Dwarven tales, in the tavern.
Gampy Olses.
Yeah, Gampy Olses, he's always telling stories.
Were you trying to say Grandpa Olsen or something?
Nope, Gampy Oles.
Okay.
Did I say that right the third time? I think I did not. I think I changed it up the third time, but that's okay. We just call him Gampy.
Well, there's only one Arkenstone, and that
Really?
is that is securely up in the mountain. However, there are other stones that can be found, and perhaps they have some weight. And as we are seeking to have an expedition into Moria, it would be quite handy to have some funding for that and something to bring to Dane and the others.
I'm down.
Perfect.
Aye. I'm down.
So would you be able to leave tonight? We could actually make a bit of progress up. I'm thinking, since being as how I'm a dwarf, and I do have this grand disguise which has helped me so far. But in order
Right, you look just like a hobbit.
in order to avoid the prying eyes of those who walk the roads, I was thinking we'd take a bit of a long route across the top of the Shire through the what do you call it? The northern quarter or something like that.
Yeah.
The southern half.
Aye.
The Western Hating.
Aye, that's right. The North Farthing and take it right across from no bottle across to Scary,
I'll pull up Google Maps.
the quarry town. Aye,
You scribbled on notepad.
perfect. So he starts breaking up camp and he tops up anybody's cup that has it out with the rest of the pot. You notice he's grabbing it just with his meaty fists. He doesn't have his gloves on or anything. He's just grabbed this cauldron off the fire and is dumping it into your cups. And he pours a little bit of water from his water skin into it, rinses it out, and dumps it next to the campsite onto the fire.
I don't think I've seen anyone more efficient than this guy. So, Uncle Ballin, where are you going after this?
Uncle.
You said you were setting up a new mining town.
Right. So the idea is whatever I find or don't find in the quarry, we'll after that I'll go to the leaders of the dwarves, probably Dane, Ironfoot, or any of the others who might be willing to help me. I'm planning an expedition to Moria. They haven't been super fond of the idea, seem to think it's overrun with orcs and all manner of fell beasts and such. It's quite preposterous. But, hey, that's the direction I'm planning to go after that.
So, we do have a Yule feast coming up very soon.
Aye.
Actually, when is the Yule feast, by the way? Just out of
4 weeks.
We have 4 weeks?
IRL or in game. What day is it?
Because Barty would know when the Yule feast is.
Sure. I think it's been
I don't.
5-ish days. Has it been 5 days since you started out? I think that's about right.
Really? Okay.
The day in Mickle Delving, the day in Green Dragon, the day in the tree, the day back in... No. The day back to... And this is the 5th day. This is the 5th day. And this is the night of the 5th day. Yeah. Sorry, quick maths. So
To be clear, I'm not hoping necessarily to recruit you for the mines. Moria is not really a place for hobbits. Right. It's quite dark and dwarvish, honestly. So
makes sense.
Sure, that's not as bad as scary. I mean,
but to be quite honest, even beyond that, though you would be working directly with me, you're really more under the employ of Bilbo, who has lent some of his share towards helping me begin this expedition. He feels he owes me from a previous exchange we've had before. But so really, if you were looking for further work, I'm sure that Bilbo might be able to provide further assistance here within the boundaries of your own shire.
Oh, I am more than happy to accompany you to the mine and figure out what to do from there. That sounds like an absolute... Let's go.
Well, I don't know. I'm mighty partial to seeing the great open sky above me head and feeling nice soft grass beneath my feet. I'm not so sure it's a good idea for a hobbit to be buried inside the bowels of the earth. That's more a place for dwarves and such. I never.
And that's exactly the language of Bilbo. That's exactly how he was.
And Bilbo's right. He's a smart fellow.
Aye.
He's a grand old lad, and he knows what's what.
he's cracked.
He has a crack. My mom says he smokes and he has a crack.
My mom saw him smoking. Dang it. Never mind.
Barry, why are you so opposed to everything I want to do?
Well, think about it.
Did you
lad.
hear? Hold on. I'm going to forget what I want to say otherwise. I'm sorry. I've already forgotten. I bleeding well forgot.
Yeah.
Did you hear the song?
Write
Did
it
it
down.
not tug at your hobbit-sized heartstrings? Did you not?
Actually, I'm getting a bit of indigestion, I think. I'm not sure. Something about
laugh
this,
when he says it. Indigestion.
something about all this talk of going into the mines has gotten my stomach turned all about.
I haven't slept in 2 days.
I mean,
That's true. That's true.
yeah, I am a little bit sleep deprived as well. I don't know.
Sleep on
But
Uncle Ballin, can we sleep on it?
what exactly are these minerals we're looking for? I mean, is it gold or silver? You don't seem to understand. You don't know exactly what it is.
Seem to understand what's
Well, and there's a good reason for that. It's hearsay, right? There's traveling dwarves that have come through Hobbiton on occasion, and they've said that they've acquired precious metals at the second hand of hobbits who thought they might know what they've got on their hands. Of course, you know as well as I do, no hobbit miner knows mithril from a hole in the ground. So if
Mithril?
they happen...
Knows what?
What's a hole in the ground?
It's a precious metal.
I don't know
Yes.
any of
Asking
those
the real
words.
questions.
Aye.
I don't know any of those.
Sorry.
And that's typical of your hobbitish miner as well. So they know their rock, they know their dirt, but they do not know their metals. And so they were tossing away and perhaps giving away for far less than they're worth many of the metals that came from the quarry. If what I've heard is true, which it may or may not be, for the dwarves who conveyed it to me had heard it from other dwarves who were less than trustworthy, but perhaps had something to do with it.
So, in short,
Still down.
we don't need to go mine.
No.
We just need to check out the mines and maybe check out the scrap heaps.
So you know that video game that came out that was like Assassin's Creed, where he blended in with the monks and he like went in and did his stabby thing? That's what I'm hoping to do. I've got hobbits around me. We're going to the mine, but there's other hobbits, so I look more like a hobbit because I'm with hobbits who look like me. And then you perhaps look out and I go into the mine and I find or don't find whatever it is I'm going to find, and you help me look out. So that if a hobbit comes, they're like, oh, you're hobbits doing the quarry thing and not a dwarf doing something else. Because you know how hobbits can be so suspicious of outsiders and interlopers and...
Dude, totally.
Such.
I got the hookup down at the mine, man. You just clasp your hands and follow behind us, and we'll get you blended in. But yeah,
Great.
you should have led with that. We can definitely help you get into.
Well,
the
that's
mines.
basically what I've said the whole time, but it's all right
Sorry.
if
I
you
wasn't
haven't...
understanding with my hobby brain.
And even,
Perhaps I thought it more clearly in my head than I was conveying, and the Scottish accent, I've got into it now, but it was a while before I could get it started, you know? So,
Yeah. What is he saying?
You're cute, but I have no idea what you're saying.
rip it,
roll it, and punch it.
even that plan. Even Barry,
Well,
Barry would like to do that because you're not going underground. All you're doing is escorting this fine bearded young gentleman over to the mines. That's all we're doing, and then we're gonna watch out for ne'er-do-wells.
I suppose so. If it comes to going into the mine proper, I'll stand lookout outside. How about that?
And you've got the greatest set of peepers this side of the North Fire, then.
Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get them peepers?
All right, I'm on board, I suppose, lads. Let's go to all the way across, literally all the way across the Shire. It's gonna take us weeks and weeks, but all right, I'm up for it.
Yes! Yes!
just what I was hoping. Okay.
That's
How do we
how
fast travel?
we haven't unlocked that location yet. Drew.
Hold on a
You-
sec, lads. Let me pull up my map and
battle pass.
I'll group teleport us all over there. No trouble at all.
For an extra $30, you can unlock fast travel.
Oh, really? It's only $30? Say less.
Donate
Here's my
now.
card.
Jerry, you're starting a domino.
This episode is brought to you by EA Games.
I've got a really cool skin unlocked for you guys too if you want to pay a few extra dollars.
It's the TKO skin.
Banjo just has an actual banjo around his head.
Oh my.
Barty has an actually Barty around his head.
Oh. How does that work?
I don't know.
A little Barty
Barry can have a
keychain.
berry on his head. Banjo can have a banjo on his head. Why can't Barty have? Barty could have a party on his head.
Barry could
It's called
literally
Party
just
Barty.
have a berry, and then Barty could have a tiny
Party
keychain with a
Barty.
Barty on it.
It's a party Barty.
Anyways, sorry about that.
Right? Do you need help closing up camp or anything, Bolin?
Bowling?
Sorry, I'm trying to find the travel. I had a set of notes for travel, and I don't know what I did with it.
I have a set of questions for the dwarf.
Oh, there,
before we get
there
a
it
chance.
goes. Okay, there we go.
I'm proficient in pipes. Can I make a pipe bomb?
No,
You're not an artificer.
but thank you for asking. Thank you for playing the game.
I am proficient in potter's tools. Can I make a potter's tools bomb?
No. So, he's kind of already outlined a path for you to travel. And I'm gonna say it's about a 3-day journey with a good pathfinder like him. So I will have one of you roll a d20. Are you waiting in town for the night, or are you setting out immediately with him?
I'm gonna go up to Sheriff Bulger. I'm gonna say, "We don't agree to your conditions," and I'm gonna slap his tummy and run away.
I think we're going tonight. We might as well get going. He made a good point. We can get some sleep on the morning.
He arrests me and puts me in jail. No,
You want to a west.
we really should let him know and be like, "Hey, by the way, no." But we'll get back to you.
He'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
I haven't seen those guys. I wonder if their answer was yes.
Did they say yet? What have they said?
So I say we just go. And if we run into Sheriff Bulger, we'll say no. But if we don't, then no loss. Like, I don't want to have that altercation. Especially now with a dwarf right next to us.
He'll be like, "What's your business in the Shire?" Sheriff Bulger, get out of here.
So let's be off.
Okay.
Shall I roll?
I already
Well, Drew already rolled.
What? Where?
However,
Where?
in the
Dang it,
so
Drew.
there's a chat called Dice Rolls.
Yeah, I see it
Yeah.
now. I didn't get the notification because I was clicked into that screen.
Sorry, I also rolled bad. But should I have added anything?
That's okay.
It's
No, this is just a...
it's just a d20. It doesn't necessarily mean you fail or anything. But
Sure.
I do, based on that roll, everyone do make a travel check, and any failures will add to the length of time that you have to travel.
I don't have any proficiency in travel, and I rolled an 8.
It's wisdom, so you can add your wisdom modifier.
I rolled a 9.
Okay, so that is a 9 from Barty. You add your wisdom modifier.
Yeah, I forget how the plus is, and this JPEG keeps deleting all of the tiny stuff.
So what's your wisdom
10,
score?
It's 10, so it'd be plus 0.
It'd be
right?
0. Yeah. So you got a flat 7, and Daniel?
Come on, Daniel.
Trying to find. There it is.
Stop freaking out.
I don't know what my scores are.
You might have a actual travel score. I don't remember.
We all do
No,
have
it's
a
a
travel.
There's travel. It's I don't have. It's just wisdom modifier for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have proficiency, but okay.
Why don't I see your character sheets? There they are. Okay.
I don't know where to go.
Oh, I do have proficiency in travel.
Okay.
Boy, we all rolled for crap.
Hold on, I do have a proficiency in travel.
We all rolled
It
for
doesn't
crap.
get me over 10, but still.
Ball's just pointing like, "Go that way." It's like, I can't.
Okay.
We
So
haven't unlocked this section of the Shire yet, Bolin.
oh no.
We can't do it.
So as you
Part of the DLC.
are packing up and you get to traveling out with Balin, and he leads you back to the road that heads up towards No Bottle. You get caught up in conversation, and he's discussing, particularly with Barty. You kind of pepper him with questions about,
May I? May I?
Yeah.
Ready? You guys ready?
Okay.
Aye, so we're just going to the mine, and it's going to be a great example of, hobbitish mining, which, it's nothing compared to dwarvish. You should see the mines.
When it comes to mining, you get all the things out of the mine. What is the finest thing you've ever forged? Do you prefer working with iron, gold, or what were you saying, mithril? Why? What was
Well,
the
there's-
most power in your craft? Have you ever
there's-
crafted something you regret? Do
I
you believe there's
the-
such thing as a perfect blade?
Well, you
What's
see
your clan
that.
name and what does it stand for?
Well,
Can
so
you tell me the greatest ancestor of your line? What does honor mean to you and your kin?
so
Do dwarves celebrate great deeds or victories? What's the most sacred tradition in your halls?
look, an
Have
owl.
you ever been beyond the mountains? What was that like?
Oh, what's the most dangerous beast you ever fought? Oh, have you ever seen an underground lake of fire? I've heard of those. What do you think of the tall, skinny guys, the elves? And
So Ballin, as you...
I'm gonna go unarmed strike against Barty.
I've got about a dozen more. I can keep going.
That's plenty. Believe me.
Plenty.
So, Ballin kind of, as he initially tries to answer your questions, but then as you continue just absolutely just shoving these questions down his throat, peppering him, he almost kind of like scoots off away from you and isn't paying close attention to where he's leading you, and actually in the
Kerfuffle.
distraction, he actually leads you into a bit of a marsh up towards No Bottle, and it is very cold, and so the ground, though it would typically be something where your feet would sink into it, the ground is quite hard, and it is slippery, and so there's patches of ice in between the grass clumps that stick out of this marsh, and so you alternate between finding great traction with one foot, and then you'll slip with the other one and almost sprain your ankle, and then you will continue on with this kind of difficult walk that you have as you continue on, and it seems to be getting a good bit colder, particularly as the sun goes down on this 5th day. You find that these clothes that you had brought with you that were fairly warm when you started, it almost seems like, maybe I should have stopped by and grabbed a heavier cloak or perhaps another bedroll to fight off the cold that's starting to gather. And you continue on, you miss No Bottle. It does seem like perhaps there's been another day added to your journey, as you don't make the progress you are hoping to make on this day. But it does take you into the wilds a little bit, and we will go ahead and fast forward. We'll say that you are having a bit of trouble getting to sleep at night, but you are able to set up camp. Balin kind of leads you a bit away from the civilization there to the north, and you're able to make camp on this evening to spend the night out in the wilds, unless you have another idea.
Sleep sounds grand. My feet hurt. My ankles hurt. I've never done this much watching. What? This is tough.
I'm surprised your throat's not hurting.
I've got more questions. He didn't answer a bloomin' single one of them.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm tired. It's time for bed.
Balin kind of sets up his sleeping roll and makes a little bit of a fire. It's kind of in a depression in the ground so that the flames can't be seen from ground level at a distance. And he encourages you all to sit a little bit further back from it so that the flames don't light up your faces. It seems like he's used to kind of the stealth camping situation. And he sits down on a rock close-ish to Barty. He says, Barty, it's wise, some would say. If you have a question, perhaps ask one question and allow the other person to respond to what you're saying. It's far easier to gather information that way. I don't know if you've talked with many a dwarf before. I don't know how you hobbits do things, but I can't keep track of 10 questions at once.
Oh dear. I made a bloomin' fool of myself, hasn't I? I'm still making a bloomin' fool of myself. Haven't I? Listen, I am so sorry. I have had... Hold on, how old am I? I have had 28 years, about 24 years to think of all these questions that I'd ask a dwarf if I ever were to meet. One of the closest I've ever gotten to actually meeting a dwarf was when like Banjo was saying, the old cracked man would tell stories at the bar, or when I met Hamfast over at the Bilbo's place, at Bilbo's house. And so I don't know, I'm sorry.
He just shakes his head and pats your shoulder a little bit, and he kind of knocks off the pauldron. You had some wooden pauldrons that you had made, right, on your shoulder, or am I just making that up?
I had a wooden bowl helmet with stuff stuck to it, and the axe with stuff stuck to it, and the handle had been etched.
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna say he knocked off your pauldron, but if you don't have a pauldron, he doesn't do that. But his hand kind of does hit your back, a little harder than you're used to, so it kind of knocked the wind out of you for a second. And his hand is huge on your back. You've been pat on your back as a kid. Perhaps your dad or somebody correcting you had done that too. But just this huge meaty palm just smacks you, and not in a jarring way necessarily on purpose, but it does kind of serve as a reminder. Yeah, no, that's different people react differently to these things. Anyway. So, Balin, no damage done, young lad. You're not the first hobbit I've come in contact to who was, shall we say, extreme in his reaction to the adventure. The tales I could tell you about Bilbo Baggins. That first day, he came away without so much as a pocket handkerchief, and you'd think the world was over. You'd think that his whole house had burned down. He was beside himself. All for a pocket handkerchief. It's not not an oddity to me that it's easy to be over exuberant in one way or another.
Over exuberant. Everybody always calls me that, but I never knew what it meant. Because it just means asking lots of questions.
Just a wee bit much. That's all it means. Is a wee bit much.
A wee bit much. A wee bit much.
Aye, a wee bit much.
A wee bit.
You don't have to. You don't have to say it the exact same way.
Say it the exact same way, right? Got it. I won't say it the exact same way.
That's an interesting accent you've got there, you wee lad. Where have you got such a strange accent for a hobbit from?
It's not strange. This is just what all dwarves sound like. Well, I guess not. Well, okay. Again, I've never met a dwarf before.
That's a bit offensive. Not all dwarves sound like that at all. No dwarf I've ever talked to sounds like what you're talking about.
Well, I'm a hobbit. This is just my accent.
Aye, that's what I was asking about. I've never heard a hobbit with such an accent before either.
That's a bit offensive.
Very good. You're learning.
Wow. Hey, Barry, can I have some peppermint to chew on? I've got the bad taste of that stew in my mouth still.
All right, sure. Here you go, lad. We've got some extra, of course. Here you are.
Thanks, Barry. I'm gonna go bed. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. I'm quite tired as well.
That's a great idea. I'm happy to stand watch. It's nice to not have to be camping alone anymore. So I don't know if any of you would be willing to help watch at different parts of the night. Would that be acceptable to you?
I'm happy to take first watch. I usually do when we do our adventures, so I'm used to taking the first watch, and I'll keep an eye out. I'll keep a weather eye out.
I'll take the second watch.
Well, all right. I can
down in my bed sack.
I'll take third, I suppose.
Very good. We can break it up into 4 watches, and that way we can all get a little extra sleep.
All right.
All right. Well, hope you all sleep well. I'll be right here if you need me, and so's my axe.
Oh, so is my axe too.
Aye.
Did you see my axe?
And my sling.
It's great.
And Barry goes, and my herbs.
No, Barry goes, in my sack.
Oh no.
No.
Sorry.
No.
But yeah.
All right, first
Great.
watch. It's on. I got this.
Perfect. You can all, if you want to, you can all roll so that we can kind of go through the watches here as much as we.
Modifier for the watch or no?
Oh.
It'll be your perception.
Skepson. What?
So if I have a check mark next to my thing, that means it's proficiency, right?
Right.
Wait.
And that's +2 is my proficiency bonus. Oops. No, I did that wrong. That one doesn't count.
No, that was cheat.
Yes.
That was cheat. That was cheat. That was cheat.
Cheat.
He rolled a 1 for the record. Drew rolled a 1 for starters. I got a 17.
I accidentally did, I think, a different command, which is I can set the result to whatever I want.
Oh. Did you set it to a 1 originally?
Yeah.
So
if you put a space, I know exactly. I'm proving that I didn't actually roll a 1, so that I can roll something better.
Oh my.
When you put a space between 1 and D20,
Oh. Well, that's no
it's
better.
not much better, but I will take it to over 1.
It's exactly 1 better.
So I got a 17, Barry got a 14, and Banjo got a 2.
Okay.
Although, is that with your modifier, Banjo?
My what modifier?
Your
My home
your perception modifier.
perception is my wisdom, which is a 0.
No. Oh, really?
Yep.
But,
You expect the wisdom from this man,
no.
this little banjo man? There's never wisdom from this little banjo. He's probably gonna set a forest fire.
So each of you on your watches, you kind of sit back and appreciate the landscape. It is just past a full moon, so you can still see quite a bit. You see that there's just a little bit of a sliver out of the moon in the sky, and you see a great many stars. This may not be the furthest you've ever been from any of the city lights, so to speak, any of the candles that are burning, or any of the posts, the street posts that are lit through parts of the night. But you can see the stars in the sky are brilliant and quite beautiful in this winter sky, and or really late fall sky. Still a few more weeks until winter starts. But the ground is hard, and it's a little difficult to sleep. But you all on your turns are able to find the rest that you so badly need from the day before. And Jerry, even though we haven't been really tracking it, your exhaustion is over.
Oh, that's right. I was supposed
So you
to
can
roll
get rid of
disadvantage.
your level of exhaustion. We'll try and keep a closer watch on that, but nothing eventful takes place during your watches. You're able to sleep through the night, although it is a bit unsettling. You haven't been in this part of the Shire for very long, and there's these rolling downs that, as you look towards the north, they're a bit unsettling, and you're not quite sure why. They just don't strike you as the comforting, rolling green hills of the Shire. And it looks like these are perhaps even further north outside of the Shire that you're really seeing these shadows and movements that seem to be a bit unsettling. But as I said, they're far away, and so you're ultimately able to, when your turn is to sleep, wrap yourself up in your traveling gear and rest and recover throughout the night. As you wake up in the morning, Balin is once again hunched over the coals and stoking back a fire to life. He has a small pot there on the fire with some simmering black liquid. It's almost it's almost this brackish water type color, and you wake up to this very strong, this almost stringent smell, a pungent odor. Perhaps you've never smelled something quite this earthy and almost acidic on the air. But it's kind of interesting to you. Perhaps it reminds you of tobacco smoke in a certain way, something that's been roasted and dried, and it's a very interesting, if not familiar, smell.
Ugh.
Brother, ugh.
Banjo rolls out of his sleeping bag and hurls all over the floor. All the hobbits are...
It's just all green.
You know, feel so good.
What is that bloomin' mess over there? Sorry, no offense. What in the bloomin' haze are you smoking?
Baby Jones Walker.
Well, we call this coffee. We dwarves, we drink it in the mines. It's ground up beans, and you just pour them into the water and you boil it for a few years. I mean minutes, and you've got a drink that'll put hair on your chest. Sure as a hobbit.
Will it put hair on your chin?
Probably.
Strokes Ballin's
Band
beard.
party.
There's
Party looks
only-
furtively towards Barry, who's
drink
probably
it.
still asleep. And
There's
Banjo,
only
who's,
one
like,
way to
looking
find out.
wide-eyed in horror. He's like, "I'll try a sip." If it'll
There's
put
only
beard on
one
my
way to
chin.
find out.
I like beans. Beans are grand. It can't be that bad.
He grabs his tin and kind of scoops out some and holds it out to you.
Barty's gonna grab with both hands. Just look at it for a
It's
second.
very hot.
He takes it out of it and puts it in one hand. Looks at it tentatively, looks back at Banjo, who's hurling actively.
Like on all fours.
Gross.
Projectile
He like
vomiting.
purses his lips and he's all, oh, that's hot. That's bitter.
Aye,
Needs umami.
Mommy.
your mommy's not here. This is a camp.
Okay.
This ain't
That's
your
a good one.
mommy's
I mean-
tea. This isn't mommy's tea, okay? This is mommy's tea crumpet sandwiches time, okay? This is coffee travel with dwarf, okay?
This is not bad.
This isn't your...
It's pretty
Aye.
bad. It's not
That's right.
bad if it had like, they had sugar back then, right? Did they have sugar?
Sure, aye.
They have honey.
It needs some honey. Did anybody bring
Aye.
honey?
Honey. We need some Winnie
No.
the Pooh action
This
up
is
in here.
this. Oh bother! This would be excellent with a spot of honey.
There are those that put honey in it. Of course, you know, they're the dwarven women. The dwarfs, a real dwarf needs nothing in his coffee.
I have a
Wait.
question. He puts the cup down.
I didn't think there were.
I'll get back to that. I promise.
I thought they
Does it
just
put
sprung
hair
their
on the
holes
chest
in
of the women too?
Aye, there's nothing wrong with that.
Does Banjo hurl again?
I didn't hear it. I was too busy thinking about if we brought honey.
It's not bad. Thank you for sharing. I'm definitely gonna finish this cup. It's gonna take me a little bit.
Does the
Banjo,
crumb
you-
move for members who
Banjo. Banjo.
pouring it onto his
Banjo.
shoulder? It's running off in beef.
Banjo. You
Burns
gotta try
himself
this.
deeply.
I've got to.
You've got to try this, Banjo.
Ooh, nom, 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 nom. I've got to eat something. That just reminds me. Thank you for reminding me.
Somebody hungry.
So the sun rises on your 6th day. You are in the fields with Balin and headed towards the mines of Scary. And who knows what the next 3 days of travel will bring you, but we will find out when we return.